Boom! Right, so we're continuing our series where we're discussing the multiplication and the division of fractions. So again, we start to write. Suppose we have fraction 1, n1 divided by d1, n1 over d1 divided by n2 over d2. Suppose we have that. What do we do? Well, without going into the details of why, which I will do in another video at some point, once you're dividing where fractions are concerned, what you do, your next step is to multiply the original fraction, the first fraction, sorry, you multiply the first fraction by the reciprocal of the second fraction. Alright? So if you're dividing by n2 over d2, that is the same thing as multiplying by d2 over n2. So in other words, you flip the numerator and the denominator, and you also flip the operation. So you're dividing by numerator over denominator, numerator 2 over denominator 2. That is the same thing as multiplying by denominator 2 over numerator 2. And once you get it in this state, then you go back to what we did in the very first video before this one, which is to just multiply the top and multiply the bottom. So in this case, what you'll end up with would be n1 d2 over d2 n2. d2 n1, sorry, this is d1, my mistake. n1 over d1 over d1 by n2. Right? All right. Nice. So we're going again, as we always do, examples. All right. So if we have, for example, if we have, in this case, we have 2/3 divided by 5 over 7. All right. That is the same thing as 2/3 multiplied by 7 over 5. And that now would be, you multiply numerators, 2 by 7 over 3 by 5, which will give you 14 over 15. So in other words, you do your thing here with the flipping and the reciprocal, and then once you get to this point, you go back to your default setting, which is to multiply the numerators on top and you multiply the denominators below, and boom, problem done. And of course, life is going to get nicer now when you have situations where you could cancel, just as we had in multiplication. So next example, if we have, let us say, if we have 2/3 divided by 4 over 5, all right, that would be 2 over 3. You multiply now by 5 over 4, because you have to reciprocate the fraction that you're dividing by. All right, this would then be what? Again, you do it in one of two ways. You could cancel and say common factor 2. 2 and 2, 1. 2 and 4, 2. Which will then give you 1 over 3 by 5 over 2. Which will then give you what? 5 over 6. Or, you could multiply one time. You could say 2 over 3 by 5 over 4 is equal to 2 by 5 is 10, 4 by 3 is 12. And then the same 2 that you saw as the common factor here, you just identify it here. 2 in the 10, 5. And 2 in the 12, 6. 5 over 6. Same answer. Right? Let me see, I suppose I have another example here. Do I not? Yes, I do. Right. So we're rubbing off again. Create more space. Then we do the same thing. So if we have, let us say we have 2/3 divided by 11 over 12. 2 over 3 divided by 11 over 12. Let us say now, next step will be what? You reciprocate the second fraction. So this will be 2 over 3 multiplied by 12 over 11. Yeah? And of course, you identify 4 as the common factor, well, 3 as the common factor. 3 into 3, 1, 3 into 12, 4. So you can do that here, 3 into 3, 1, 3 into 12, 4. Now we multiply the numerators. 2 by 4 is 8, and 1 by 11 is 11. You can do that, or you can say 2 over 3 divided by 11 over 12 is the same thing as 2 over 3 multiplied by 12 over 11. Right? And let me multiply now. 2 by 12 is 24. 3 by 11 is 33. Right? So this is not a common fraction. So most people who see 24 over 33 probably wouldn't recognize that you could divide the top and the bottom by 3. But again, it just serves to reinforce the importance of your tables. Right? The tables. Very, 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 very important. Alright? So, common factor of 3. 3 into 24 is 8. 3 into 33 is 11. Same answer. And that's it, you know. That is it. Alright? So, multiplication of fractions, division by fractions, as simple as it is, both of these are things that require extensive practice. Do not make the mistake of thinking that because something is easy to do, that doing it is easy. Right? That's two totally different things. Right? To make the doing easy, you have to practice. Even if it is easy to do, you still have to practice. Alright? So, whatever your practice is, wherever you decide to practice, and whoever you decide to practice with, go out there and practice.